I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media, and I'm very happy to be talking again today with my good friend Darren of Plymouth, Wolsned. Call him what you like. I think he's a fantastic character altogether. Darren, how are you doing today? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm very well, Rick. It's Monday. In fact, it feels like the first day of the year, to be fair, because New Year's Day landed on a Wednesday midweek. So I'm full of beans this morning, Rick, and I hope you're well too, mate.
Yeah, I am. It's been a weird week. Everyone talks about being disorientated between Christmas and the New Year. Literally every day of the last week, I've been completely out of sync. I genuinely haven't known what day it is. I've thought Tuesdays or Fridays and Sundays or Mondays and all that sort of business. But yeah, the dust's settling down a little bit now. So it's the 6th of January today. We're well into the new year. And there's been a lot of interesting developments. They say it's a quiet period between Christmas and the new year, but, not when it comes to British politics. There seems to have been an explosion over the last week or so in particular, which is what I want to dig into with you today, if I can get my words correct here. And this is not about this character, but this character seems to be at the epicenter of everything that's going on in Britain at the minute, none other than Elon Musk. So I have a few things I want to talk about with regards to him. The first thing I want to talk about is a headline that has appeared it actually appeared this morning here. Elon Musk has said that Nigel Farage doesn't have what it takes to be a Reform UK leader. He describes the comment as a surprise. That is Nigel Farage. Number one, we have this tech billionaire, alleged billionaire, who's very cozy with Donald Trump and certainly was involved in the last US election, cozying up with Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, sitting on their private jet, very involved, part of their Department of Government Efficiency, or the Doge department. Now we have him casting his eye over to Britain, and it seems to be all he's doing at the minute, talking about British issues and British politics and telling us how to run the country. What do you make of all this?
Someone messaged me or in my DMs on Twitter and said, an account me and you both know quite well. I'm not going to mention their name. It said, "Oh, it looks like Elon Musk is going full retard." And if you go and have a look at Elon Musk's Twitter feed, all he's talking about is Great Britain, Keir Starmer, the horrific rape gangs, mostly Muslim rape gangs that have been going on in this country that we've all been talking about periodically for decades, whenever it's flavor of the month or the week on Twitter. And it's incredibly unusual. I actually feel a bit unnerved by everything that Elon Musk is doing on Twitter at the moment in terms of what he is saying. And it seems like he's also got some influence with other Twitter accounts. And now all of a sudden he's calling out Nigel Farage, when only a couple of weeks ago before Christmas he was pictured with him and Donald Trump. So maybe Nigel Farage has said, "I don't want your influence on Twitter," and so Elon Musk says, "Well, I'm going to get rid of Nigel Farage." To say that Nigel Farage isn't up for being a leader of reform, he led UKIP and got the Brexit vote. He won the Brexit vote. He did the Brexit party and got all those MEPs into Europe, which actually sort of helped create the pressure to deliver, and I use that in inverted commas because it's never been delivered, Brexit. And now that Brexit party has morphed into reform, which has become a real third option in UK politics, if you're interested in voting, that is. And so to say Nigel Farage isn't up for the job, at least on paper, he's been the most influential politician for the last couple of decades. So it's very, very odd. It's quite clear Elon Musk has been throwing his weight behind Rupert Lowe. And Rupert Lowe is constantly being retweeted and shared and quote tweeted on Twitter and then probably in other forums as well, or pushed by Elon Musk. I'm really, really unnerved by everything that I'm seeing because I've always been a Musk fan. I used to
Shame on you.
I know. I used to teach about Elon Musk in my science lessons. I used to go, let's have a look at this rockets, or let's have a look at this batteries, or whatever. And so I've always been a bit of a Musk fan. And, I was glad, me and you even sort of come to loggerheads a little bit over Elon Musk and his acquisition of Twitter. But now I don't want his influence in British politics any more than I want Bill Gates or Larry Fink or BlackRock or the West Stooges. I don't want any of them involved in our country. I want the people of Great Britain to have ownership of our government, and our government to work for the people and for the wishes of the people in this country. And that doesn't seem to be happening. So maybe Elon Musk isn't happy with Farage. Maybe he hasn't got full control of Farage, and so he's going to another puppet, which I believe is Rupert Lowe.
You mentioned, you name dropped a few people there. Larry Fink from BlackRock. You name dropped Bill Gates. You said, well, I don't like the fact that, I wouldn't want these people to have influence in British politics, but they do. They've both been courted by Keir Starmer recently. He seems to roll out the red carpet for number 10 Downing Street to whoever he wants. Hell, he even gave Lord Ali private access there after he clothed him and gave him a new pair of glasses and bought his wife his clothes. So, he's an easy buy, it would seem, is Keir Starmer. And the way I'm looking at it is because interestingly, you mentioned about Musk and Trump and Farage being photographed together and everything looked hunky-dory after Trump's win in November. Now we have this strange turn here where, he's pointing out that Farage doesn't have what it takes. So, for example, the background of this is the ex-owner posted the tweet on Sunday, yesterday, following days of headlines over his comments about the historical grooming scandal that took place across UK towns and cities more than a decade ago, and we'll come to that. He said, although Musk is in agreement with Farage and the Conservatives that there should be a national inquiry, a dividing line has emerged between the tech billionaire and the reform leader over the former support for jailed activist Tommy Robinson. So after Musk made the comments, Farage replied saying, well, this is a surprise. Yeah. Elon is a remarkable individual, but on this, I am afraid I disagree. And here we have a man you can see is just tippy-toeing around because he doesn't want to rock the potential, derail the gravy train here, because Labour, are they in a mess at the minute? That Britain is ripe for change. It could come in the form of reform. And if it does come in the form of reform, they're going to need extra financing, extra push, extra clout on social media. And who better to provide all of that than none other than Elon Musk? So I think that's telling in Farage's reply, don't you think? Because if I came out on today and I said, Darren, I don't think you're fit to do what you do. Just like it, would you say, well, Richard, I disagree with you, exclamation mark. Yeah. This is a surprise. I think you're a remarkable host, Richard, but I'm afraid I'm going to have, you'd be like, who do you think you are? You would like to think you'd come at me hard like a man instead of simping around, like noncing around. You get what I mean?
Yep, and there could be another explanation for this, because after UKIP in 2014 or whenever the referendum was granted by the Conservative government because of their pressure, because they won so many votes in a previous election, even though they didn't win many seats, Farage stepped down. Brexit Party come along. Farage stepped down. That has repeatedly, when we had the 2019 election and Boris Johnson won, Farage pulled all of his candidates and stepped down. That could be what we're seeing now with reform. Farage is going, I need to step down. I can't be seen to be, walking away like I have done previously because I got so much criticism for doing that. And so this could all be some sort of prearranged plan for, hey, I need to get out of this now. I've done my business. Elon, say some bad words about me. I'll walk away and we can get in our man, Rupert into the hot seat for reform as a potential future prime minister. And I do think if there was an election right now, reform would do very, very, very well.
Yeah, and again, I'm not knocking on them per se, because I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. But, if they were to succeed mightily at this point in time, the question would be asked, is it literally because the opposition is so abysmal? Not because they're skilled or they've got a lot of credibility or they've got a lot of, acumen. I'm just saying that recently in Northern Ireland, there was an election held and there was a person who won a seat, and not because they were good, they were a disaster, quite frankly, but the two people that possibly should have won the seat ended up competing against each other, splitting the vote. And then the other person came in and mopped it up, and it was against the back of a scandal, a historic alleged sex abuse scandal by the person that did hold the seat. So someone took that seat. But did they take it because of merit? Did they take it because of their great political acumen and clout? Or did they capitalize on disaster, chaos, and madness, and it just was the right time for them? That's what I'm seeing with Britain at the minute. I agree with you. I think it's there for the taking for reform, but again, is it because they're great guys and girls that have got it together? They're the least worst.
Our whole political system is built on the foundations of people voting, those that do vote, which is only 20, 30, 40% of the population, usually, particularly at local level, we just vote for the least worst candidate. And, it doesn't mean we're getting good candidates. They're all bad. And it's really... It makes a mockery of what the democratic system is supposed to look like. We don't have democracy, and I'm pretty certain that if we can have a foreign influence or an American billionaire come in, prop up a political party and put them in power, who's in charge? I don't think it's the least worst people that we've put in power here in this country. It's the American billionaire that's financing them.
We touched briefly on Tommy Robinson, or Stephen Yaxley Lennon, to give him his proper title. He is currently banged up. There's a whole furore about whether or not he should be in prison or not. Again, Musk has weighed in on this issue, right?
10 times contempt of court. That's what he did. That he admitted to after collecting a load of money.
Yeah, because there's one thing Tommy does well. Give him his credit. It's fundraise for his legal fees. He's a dab hand at that. But setting that to the side, again, the central theme in all of this thread is running through it is Elon Musk. So he's weighed in and he's talking about Tommy Robinson. He's a political prisoner and so on and so forth. Setting that to the side, he's very vocal on this chap Tommy Robinson, Stephen Yaxley Lennon. And Musk is being touted and has been touted by his fanboys and fangirls for a long time as he's the savior of free speech. He's the champion of free speech. He wants to open up the town square for everyone. And I looked at this, and you can check this yourself. If you have a Twitter account, look up Elon Musk, search on his account, and search Julian Assange. In fact, just search Assange. I couldn't believe it, Darren, when I ran this search yesterday, and I double-checked it again today in case I made a mistake. In all the years of Musk's account, and after buying Twitter, the champion of free speech, the at the vanguard for opening up, once on his entire Twitter postings was Assange mentioned, and even not his full name, just Assange. And it was in the context of a poll that he ran, and it made it clear that he was not expressing a personal opinion in this, but should he be freed? So that was the extent of Assange support from Elon Musk, which I thought was very bizarre when I looked into this, but yet he's literally trumpeting Tommy Robinson from the rooftops. Not saying that he shouldn't, it's his choice. But I find it bizarre that the champion of free speech would remain completely silent, lips pursed when it came to Julian Assange. But when it comes to Tommy, he's off on one.
Assange being the world's most famous political prisoner and free speech advocate of the last couple of decades, and he only talked about him once. And no doubt his CIA handlers and anyone else that's funneling money into his businesses have told him, you can't talk about Assange. And that's probably why he hasn't. Just like he's probably said, yeah, you can talk about Tommy Robinson. Hey, go for the grooming gangs, because that was really going to rile up the UK. We want to destabilize that country. Maybe they want to make us the 53rd state after Canada, in Greenland. Who knows?
Yeah, that's bizarre, isn't it? They're talking about, but Trump's talking about buying Greenland
Not joking.
and
I don't think
annexing
he should be.
Canada. Yeah, and Trudeau apparently today, by the way, I don't know if you've seen this one or not. Trudeau looks set to resign this week. The word on the street is that he's currently drafting his resignation letter. So Chrystia Freeland, she's already bailed. Trudeau, his popularity is again at rock bottom, much the same way as Keir Starmer's is.
Germany, Australia, we're seeing it everywhere. The pendulum is swinging to the right. It would be great if it just stopped in the middle, but it won't. And I think with, say, the influence of Musk and any other of these rich characters, or American, the CIA and intelligence services, I think they're going to push the pendulum all the way to the other side, all the way to the right, and that will be as bad as a woke madness that we've had for the last decade. I think that's what we're seeing. I think they know the public aren't buying the paradigm that we've had to live by for the last 10 years, and so they're just changing the perspective in which they're coming from, but the agenda continues.
There's I'll give props to Tommy Robinson here in terms of the work that he did, or he was super vocal on exposing the grooming gangs that were endemic in Britain and many places, that operated for a very, very long time. The scandals that are going on with that, they're now again coming to the fore once more. So this is something else that is being highlighted by Elon Musk. And again, give him his dues. It's a good thing. I believe that it's being highlighted because it's a scandal that you can't even begin to fathom. If you can put yourself into the position of the people that were afflicted and victimized by these grooming gangs, or their parents, and you look at the lack of justice or the injustices that were done, and the lack of any governmental action, not just from the Labour Party at the minute, but from the Tory Party that preceded them as well, from the Uniparty, because they are one entity at the end of the day. Talking about there should be a national inquiry for this. Again, Labour are very mealy-mouthed over this, and another one of their minions, Jess Phillips, I think it is, she said, well, I don't think we need a national inquiry on this. So she's been latched upon by Musk as well, who's using that social media clout like no other. And what a time to be in social media and owning your own platform. As per now, you can talk about what you want, and he ain't going to get shadow banned by anybody. No. He's the boss. So this has attracted a lot of flack. And yesterday, we saw a lot of Labour apologists on and getting grilled, rightly so, by the mainstream outlets, or more mainstream outlets, about the fact that we need a national inquiry in this. And they were humming and hawing about it as if it was something that really didn't deserve, expenditure and time. They're
batting it back to the local authorities. They said, no, we didn't say there should be an inquiry about it, or not. We said the Oldham authorities should do it, or the Rochdale authorities should do it, or the Telford. That's their argument. But the reality is, Gordon Brown instructed all police forces not to investigate.
So you have to ask the question is, why would that be? And again, you can almost feel like Britain's a cauldron, like most of the world's a cauldron at the minute that's bubbling, and it's got all sorts in that cauldron, good, bad and ugly in that cauldron. And the heat is the fire's constantly being stoked underneath it. And I mean, like if you were an Irishman like me and you had potatoes nearly every day of the week, you boil those things, you forget to turn the heat down a bit. And you know what it's like, you're a chemist, you boil the water and it bubbles, and the bubbles come up, and then all of a sudden it spits and there's stuff flying out of the top of the saucepan. And then if you leave it long enough, all the water goes out, and then the bottom of the saucepan gets burnt, the food gets ruined. That's what I'm seeing as a picture of Britain right now. And I think the thing that could really tip the thing over the edge could be this digging into this scandal as to why it was allowed to happen, what was behind it, who was behind it, and what is going to be done about it. And if the answer to that's nothing, well, we're not going to cover anything. We're not going to have a public inquiry. With the tensions are the way they are, Darren, at the minute, things could end badly in Britain, I feel.
I mean, there's definitely the likelihood in 2025 to see more of the far right riots that we saw after the Southport stabbings. We may see major protests, right wing, far right, protests pushing back against immigration and the gang rape stories that being percolated through Twitter at the moment. And that might be the intention, just as we're seeing in Germany, just as we're seeing in France, same issues. And now we've had all these terrorist attacks, whether they're natural, organic terrorist attacks, you know, they were perpetrated as we are told, or whether they were state-sponsored or state-instituted attacks. I could see the whole world slowly sort of heating up and going up in flames with this racial division, and that's all being pushed on Twitter at the moment by Elon Musk.
It is, and that's the power. That is the power that is now resting on social media, because the talk about the legacy media, the mainstream media is dead. Musk proclaims we are the media now. Of course, that riles the feathers of the establishment. It riles the feathers of the bought and paid for propaganda arms, for example, like the BBC in Britain and the RTE in Ireland. They don't like to hear talk like that because they had a stranglehold on news. They had a vice-like grip for forever on what was being disseminated to the public. But now, whether you like it or not, whether you embrace technology or not, there's no doubt there's a seismic shift has happened where now you and I can have literally as much reach as a Fleet Street newspaper if we hit the right people at the right time and something blows up and the right person takes it and tweets it. All of a sudden, your face is all over the world. You don't have to, leave town to be able to do it. You can do it from your sofa. You can do it sitting on the toilet if you really want to. You can do whatever you want. And really, there's a seismic shift. And I think that terrifies not just the establishment, but the gatekeepers of the news or information, which is the legacy media themselves. They're bricking it at the minute.
Yeah, but I'll ask you a question, Rick. Could that be a bad thing? Could this massive sort of, almost you could call it over connectivity of everybody and everything, is that in its essence a problem for us? Because if you go back to the 80s, we never had this issue. We just had 4 or 5 media outlets, and that was the information that we had. Are we oversaturated with information now that it's now becoming problematic for the cohesion of our society? I
think it is, in that it's a good thing in that people can get a point out and they don't have to jump through hoops to do it. But when you were young and running around in your 20s, you weren't obsessed with the news. You weren't checking the news all day, every day. Neither was I. I had no interest in it, quite frankly, until 2021, when the whole COVID thing hit the world. And then I started to ask questions and I started to look around and dig a little bit deeper, go outside the box. I started to become more interested in it. But I was never obsessed. I'm still not, thankfully. I dabble in it. I keep up to date with it. But now it seems to be not even the news, but it's just this addiction to knowing everything about what's going on, or having to know what lies behind everything. And while you're digging the rabbit hole, your real life is passing you by. The outside world, going out and interacting with human beings is slowly being replaced by getting on top of things online. So it's a blessing and a curse, Dee. I think it's a blessing and a curse.
It's a poison chalice. I've always said that about Twitter, and I've always said that about having a large Twitter account. It becomes a poison chalice that actually can consume you if you're not careful, which is why today I'm probably just going to switch everything off, because I'm sick to death of hearing about rape, to be honest.
It's not pleasant. But then again, but then again, the thing about it is that you have to deal with the disgusting, filthy underbelly of society. If you're going to deal with society, you have to deal with the root problems of it, which is, again, ironically, what Musk is shining a spotlight on at the minute. And it all comes around. And I mean, I'm looking at a report here at the minute, not just Musk himself, but there's his dad, Earl Musk. He's on an interview with GB News. Musk's drops support for Farage. Now we have Elon Musk's dad, who's getting on, mainstream media. Now he's getting a push too. Earl Musk, he's on there talking about, Earl Musk says Elon will certainly still donate to reform Great Britain. Of course he will, as long as they're fielding the right candidate. I would say that's one of the stipulations. I'm surmising, or I'm hypothesizing. Okay, I'll donate, but you got to put the candidate forward that I like. And by the looks of things, that seems to be Rupert Lowe.
100%. Rupert Lowe's being pushed for the last 3 or 4 months and is constantly being pushed in particular by Elon Musk. And any account that supports Rupert Lowe is the same. And, you know, when I see that, I just think there's mischief afoot. You know, this is the agenda. If it's everywhere, it's the agenda. One thing that David Icke definitely gets right is in that statement. And so I'm very, very suspicious of Rupert Lowe if an American billionaire is pushing it. And anyone who thinks that an American billionaire should be buying up a British party needs their head checked. I mean, you could almost say it's almost like being a traitor if you're accepting money from a foreign country or somebody who might be an adversary or anything like that and influencing the outcomes in this country. That's treachery, isn't it? I think you know, and it's definitely anti-democratic.
Yeah. I mean, you know, keep Britain, governing Britain, within Britain, support within Britain. Once you start getting these tendrils coming in from whatever source it is, you know, what's to say they won't be coming in from multiple angles? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you're seeing it. You're seeing Keir Starmer literally courting Bill Gates, courting Volodymyr Zelensky, courting Larry Fink.
Yep.
Courting whoever he can that'll support him, because he needs all the support he can get at the minute. Which takes me on to this next point here. You know, you look at the Labour cabinet, and you look at someone like Rachel Reeves, who's a liar.
Yeah.
The liar. Yeah. Right? She lied on her job interview. She lied. It's proven fact. But she's still in a job, and B, still pushing through policies that are destroying Britain. So, for example, another headline that came out this morning, Rachel Reeves' hammer blow. National insurance hikes have sent business confidence plummeting, a damning new British Chambers of Commerce report has revealed. British business confidence under Labour has tumbled, with some 63% of businesses warning they were concerned about the tax burden, up from 48% before Reeves' budget. The survey, which comes as the PM, Starmer, looks set to, quote, reset his barely 6-month-old stint in Downing Street, also shows investment tumbling and price hikes looming thanks to the devastating budget. So Starmer is in for what, 6 months? July the 4th? What are we? Say 6 months. 6 months plus 2 days. Call it 6 months. Yeah. He's on his literal third reset. You know, he started and then he pressed the button, a few weeks ago with his grim Labour conference and his woeful speech. It's awful. And now he's at it again. He said, we need to reset again. Darren, how many times, if this was a mobile phone, right, and you had to keep resetting it, you know, factory reset it, would you not take it back to the manufacturer and say, I've got a dud here?
Yeah, I'll be in Apple saying, can I have a new phone, please? Because this one isn't doing as advertised. And, you know, Labour had a manifesto that people voted for. Well, 20% of the population voted for. You would expect them to deliver on that manifesto, at least for the people who voted for them. And he hasn't delivered on anything. He's gone back on everything that he said to that 20%. And now he's, like you said, he's on another reset. And that was the headline today in one of the articles that you sent me this morning. Was that he's going to reset? What's he going to go? Is he now going to become far right? Is he? If he's resetting, it's insane. And again, it just shows what the shambles that the UK, the home of democracy, political system is in.
It does, and you know he
won't make it to the end of 2025, and they're already talking about a general election in 2027. I'm not sure if they're talking about it now, and they're debating it after that petition that got 3 million signatures. Something that was also pushed by Elon Musk and a load of his sock puppet.
That's right.
Yeah, they're debating that today in Parliament. You know, 3 million people have signed this petition. Should we have another election? So it'll be quite interesting to see what the outcome of that. But that pressure is growing on Starmer. If he's had to reset his manifestos or his policies or his, or get someone else in to take over from Rachel from accounts, then it's clear that he is obviously really, really starting to crack. Mm-hmm. And I think that will tell over the coming 12 months.
Here's the thing, too.
He may want out.
Well, I would say it's hard to judge that, guys, because he's emotionless, he's flat, he's completely insipid. You know, his tone really doesn't change. If he won the lottery or he lost 5 million quid, I think his delivery wouldn't change a bit. He's just so flat.
And he's a liar.
He's a pathological habitual liar. And here's the thing too. So I think it's a given that politicians will tell the electorate what they want to hear to get elected. They all do it. They all do it. And it's also a given that some or many of those promises will be broken because they're politicians, aren't they? And that's what they
make impossible promises.
They lie. they tell lies. They manipulate. Then they go back on their promises. So there's a factoring in there that's a given. Okay. I would say at this point in time that even the most hardcore Labour fans, if there are such a thing as hardcore, because I can't find any anywhere, but let's assume they're out there. Even the most hardcore Labour fans at the minute would be hard pressed to defend the first 6 months in office of the replacement to the Tory party, because note also, they didn't just break electoral promises. They made it clear that they made pledges before the election, which somehow rank even higher on the integrity scale than a promise. But the pledges, they're not just breaking promises, Darren, they're breaking pledges. And literally, there could be pensioners. It's cold this week, mate. I don't know what it's like where you are, but I'm cold.
Very cold.
Very cold. So I wouldn't want to be an old dear sitting in the house with my winter fuel allowance cut. Despite public backlash, despite people jumping all over this saying this is going to literally kill extra thousands of pensioners above and beyond those that normally die, to have them completely ignore it and say we're pushing it through anyway. I mean, what more does this guy have to do, you know, before he's either ousted or he has to hang his head in shame and just quit?
And at the same time, he's going, oh, yeah, we're breaking our pledges, we're forcing it through winter fuel allowance. And at the same time, he's going, oh, we're going to prioritise immigrants for the NHS and they'll be seen within 15 minutes. And you have to wonder whether the whole behaviour of Keir Starmer is also planned and choreographed to create the maximum amount of division. Because he's not stupid. Keir Starmer's not stupid. He's probably not the smartest, but he's not stupid. And for him to enact and implement some of the policies that he is doing, he must know how divisive it is. He must know he will get backlash from the public, including the people who voted for him. And he must know people like Elon Musk are going to come along and attack him on social media. So you wonder why he's doing it when he doesn't actually have to. He could just follow through with his pledges. There was nothing stopping him from not raising taxes, for example. So, you know, I know I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's all deliberate, and you just have to wonder whether there's someone waiting in the wings in Labour, or Reform, that's going to come in and take over. And I think that's what we're seeing play out. And we will see play out over 2025. It's going to be a fiery, very rocky year.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it started off as it will probably continue.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I would be shocked if the Musk saga does not continue to intensify in British politics. Because at the minute, I'm just looking at, you know, I have Musk /Farage /Reform. You have Musk /Tommy Robinson. You have Musk /Grooming Gangs, National Inquiry, Jess Phillips. And then you have Musk / the Labour Party, period. So that's just in the space of what, a week or two? And we're only
we're day 6.
We're day 6 into the new year, and the Christmas lull, I think, is well and truly over. The Christmas trees are down. People are into the January, you know, depressive period. A lot of people get down at this time of the year, and a lot of people say, right, it's a new year, let's attack it with aplomb. And I think that's what you're seeing happening with Musk. So, you know, again, this is not about him per se, but about the influence that he is exerting on British politics. Many facets also. Notice he's compassing national scandals. He's compassing the Reform Party. He's talking about replacing the leader of Reform with another candidate. He's talking about funding it. He's talking about Tommy Robinson. He's talking about historic grooming gang scandals that have plagued Britain for a long time. launching a national inquiry, calling out the Labour Party about this. I mean, and we're on day 6. We're on day six. Can you imagine if we have a review in a month, what might have been happening by February or what may have actually transpired in the streets? It's crazy, but that's why you got to you have to be aware of what's going on, Darren, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm. And imagine if, I can remember when Donald Trump got into power in 2016 and everyone was like, oh, Putin put him in power, and the uproar about that. And, no one's actually sort of saying, no one's like sort of comparing that to the parallels of what we're seeing with Musk's influence right now. It's just really sort of confusing. And I think that will be the word for 2025. It will be a confusing time.
Land of confusion, mate. But we shall do our best to make sense of the madness. And listen, we're just observing. We're just commentating. We might have this all wrong. People can come to their own conclusions and want to believe about that. So if you're listening in here today, and you don't need me to tell you this, but do your own research, come to your own conclusions, listen to various points of view, of course, but come to your own conclusions. But most importantly, don't lose sight of what's going on in your life, your actual real life, because being consumed by this stuff and being worked up about this stuff is taking your time and energy away from living your own actual life and supporting your own family. So if you've enjoyed this video, I'll leave a link, Darren. Sorry, you going to say something there?
Yeah, if people are listening, stay away. Don't get involved with the madness of crowds, because that's what's sort of happening. Everyone's, we saw it with BLM, Black Lives Matter, the madness of crowds, people just going with the flow with everybody else without actually really, really thinking for themselves. And I believe that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to go against the crowd either. If your principles and your beliefs say this is wrong, it doesn't matter if the whole world is saying it's right. You stick to your guns, and that's crucial as well. Don't be swayed by the blob. Don't be swayed by the masses. Don't be swayed by some tech billionaire who's sitting there having fun with life by provoking and pointing things and laughing and coining it. All the way along. So, Darren, I'll leave your details. Please check out the description box here. I'll leave details through where you can connect to Darren on his social media page. And also, if you like this video, very important, share it. Share it. I'd love you to leave a comment. I'd love you to like the video if that's what you want to do. But cut and paste the link, and listen, all you need to do is cut and paste the link and drop it into a WhatsApp group, drop it into a Facebook group, drop it into a social media, do whatever you want to do, but share it. And if people don't like it, that's fine. They don't have to listen to it, but maybe somebody will get turned on to it, and maybe somebody will come alongside and will be part of the growing, silent and getting louder minority that I hope soon will be a majority. Yeah.
And follow at Wolsned, because I'm this close to 100,000 followers.
Let's get them.
Me multiple accounts, multiple cancellations, and I'm pretty sure I'm shadow banned in some way right now, and I'm this close. So at Wolsned, WOLSNED.
Yes, follow the legend that is Darren Denslow, aka Wolsned, aka Darren of Plymouth, aka Darren Janner. Get on there, and the link will be in the description box below. It will also be in a pinned comment at the top of the comments in this thread. Get on there, and if you use that social media platform, and Elon Musk, if you're listening, which I'm sure you will be, make sure you follow Darren and retweet him. Let's get him up. Let's get him up over the 100K. If nothing else, let's just get him over the line. But listen, Darren, lovely to see you. Nice to kick off the new year talking with you as well. And no doubt we shall catch up again, hopefully sooner rather than later. That's Darren of Plymouth, aka Wolsned. I am Rick Munn, aka No Risk, No Reward Media. And for now, this is me over and out.